is Neil Southgate and I'm your brass and woodwind tutor. Today we're going to be looking at how we make a sound out of the flute, or indeed the toot. Now, one of the things that when we're making the sound is the simple effect of simply blowing. Now with the flute, it's really important not to blow too hard. So a simpler way of thinking about it is I don't want you to blow harder than it takes for you simply to exhale. When you just exhale, the lips have a much better chance of holding a nice secure position and for you to create a clear sound. So rule number one is you take a nice deep breath and just let the air out nice and naturally like you're exhaling. The second thing that we need to make the sound out of the flute is to create an embouchure. Now an embouchure just means this position and shape of your mouth to create the sound. Now to begin with, we're going to start with a closed embouchure, and what that means, our lips are going to be together and we're going to try and blow them apart. The way that we're going to do that is you're going to put your lips together by going You can wet your lips slightly in the middle, okay, call it the chameleon. Okay, our tongue goes out and in, simply wets them. We're not going, okay, because that's really bad and also unhygienic. You're just putting your lips together, and then wetting the lips slightly in the middle. That helps them to vibrate a little bit better when we're trying to blow the air and make the sound. Now, if you think about making a P sound, P-F-F-F-F, just like you can see here, P-F-F-F-F. If you're gently exhaling, putting your lips together, and make the P-F-F-F sound, you'll see that my lips begin to open as I let the air out. And that's really important. That's called our aperture. And depending on where that aperture is, because all of our mouths are different, okay? All of our mouths are different. So for some people, the hole is dead center. I'm not so lucky. My hole is slightly off to the side, slightly off to my right side. And to make the flute, it is really important for you to know where that hole is. So I would do this in front of a mirror and have a look. So you go, So I'm going puff, but I'm not blowing, I'm just letting the air out and actually exhaling. Once you can locate that hole, it will make the next stage really much simple. Okay. If you're not yet making a sound out of the flute, what you can do is put your left hand and put your two fingers together, a little bit like in the Scouts, and rest your two fingers underneath your lips. So it's actually touching your lips, and you'll feel your lips gently rolling over. It's very similar to when we put our lips against the lip plate. Our lips will gently rest on top of the lip plate, with our lip gently overhanging ever so slightly the very side of the hole. I practice going If I'm blowing correctly, I will feel the air maybe hit my second finger along. If it hits the first finger, you're blowing a little bit too far down, and your top lip maybe has come over a bit too much. And if you can't feel the air hitting the second finger, we might want to think about adjusting slightly. So how can you do that? You can blow against your hands. So if you put your hands a little bit in front of your face, blow gently again, you should feel the air come out and hit your hands somewhere. What we're aiming for is for the air to go slightly down. Okay, because imagine we want to blow across the hole. So we are aiming for maybe this position here, just below the flute. So what you can do is you can move your lips up and down, move your jaw, and experiment with moving the air up and down your hand. And when you have control over that, you'll be in a much better position when we come back to the flute. Because if you're not making a sound, you've got one thing you can adjust to see how to make a better sound. So that's an excellent thing to do, blowing against your hands, practicing with your fingers. The next stage is simply to have a go on the head joint of your flute. If you've got the curly flute, this is the first two attachments. You've got a corner bit and a little bit that attaches to it. You want both of those bits. Okay, so get your parents to unscrew it if it's a little bit stiff, because again, we don't want to damage or bend the keys on the instrument. So you put the rest of the instrument on to one side, and we're just looking at the head joint. If you use one hand and use that hand to cover the hole. Now this is really important because you're much more likely to get a sound when the hole is covered. With the other hand, you can just hold it very gently. And if you hold it like this, you can adjust it, so you can twist it up and down and move it left and right. It is really important, again, to maybe have a go at looking at a mirror when you do this. So we're going, if you're accidentally doing this and letting your lips fray forwards, think about eating something really disgusting or smelling something smelly. Ooh, you'll automatically tighten up some of your face muscles. I call it the lemon face, the sour face. It tightens the corners of your lips. So if you tighten the corners of your lips, tighten, blow, you'll find that you're no longer pushing your lips out or going. Okay. So if we've got the blowing down, you're happy that you're blown down far enough, we can have a go with the head joints. There's, on the lip plate, you've got a thin side and a thick side. It's the thick side where you want to rest your lip. As I said before, the hole wants to point up towards the ceiling. That's important that we don't twist it in and try and blow into the hole or twist away and we completely miss the hole. It's like a bottle top. We're trying to blow across, and the splitting of the air creates the vibrations which creates the sound. So our lip can go onto the lip plate. Okay, go hand over the edge, and I can create a nice gentle sound. Remember, we're not blowing hard, we're just exhaling gently. If you cannot make a sound doing that, it's really simple. You could just simply be missing the hole entirely. This is where the mirror is your friend. So you might glow, oh hang on a minute, I'm blowing. Or you might think, oh, I've got a completely dead centre, that must be perfect. But if you remember, my hole doesn't come out the middle, it comes out to the side. So I can't put mine right in the middle, I have to move mine slightly to my right to make the sound efficiently. So you might be similar, yours might be slightly to the left or slightly to the right, and you won't know that without having a look in the mirror and seeing where the hole is. The second thing that could go wrong, rather than just left or right, or this being twisted completely the wrong way, is just you might be blowing above it too high, or maybe just blowing too low. Just like we practice with our hands. So once you've got the hole in the right place and you're resting gently, wet, blow, experiment with blowing higher. And if you heard, I was changing the air to go higher and lower, and sometimes the sound came out nice and sometimes it didn't. Okay? And that's what you're aiming for. If we can get a really good sound just using the head joints, you're going to do much better with the flute, because when we assemble the flute, then all we have to worry about is where you put your fingers, not about making the sound. So this is really important. You should do this every single time you practice. You should always, always, always make some nice, slow, long sounds on the head joint. Okay, thank you very much.